Hello, everybody. Welcome, Gemini, to your July 2020 reading. It's so good to see everybody. And I'm really looking forward to talking about all the different messages that came through both in my meditation and also what we're going to be talking about here in just a moment with all of the channeled information. So hope that you're doing well. I saw in the chat that a lot of you are celebrating birthdays. So if that's the case, happy birthday. Let's get started here. So much to talk about. I'd like to begin with just a quick introduction for those of you that might be brand new. My name is Nicholas Ashbaugh, and every month I like to show up to basically give you a roadmap and show you what's possible. I'm a big proponent in free will, which is why we do these readings a little bit early. Additionally, if you're actually joining me ahead of the month of July, then the deep past and the past messages will apply to the here and now. So no matter when you join, there's going to be relevant messages, and I hope you enjoy. So here's how I organize this. First and foremost, it can be used for your sun, rising, and moon sign. So I just wanted to get that out of the way. And then there are 4 major parts to this reading. I begin with channeled information that comes to me during a meditation and also in the hours preceding this sort of live feed. And then I like to then move along to a Celtic Cross, looking again at the highlights and any of the challenges that you might be experiencing. And at the extended portion, we look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, giving you kind of viewpoints into all of those points of life that we really care about on a month-to-month and day-to-day basis. After that, we'll go a little bit deeper. I call this portion the soul path, and like SOUL, looking at things that really move us, not just for the month ahead, but can help us throughout the entire year. This month, I'm focusing on finding peace with things. The peace may be different for each person in each sign, so we'll see what there is in your life where maybe there's a chance to sort of make amends or let go or find sort of peace and quiet in your life and in your energy. And after that, we do a meditation, which will allow us a chance to integrate all of the lessons and all the messages and all the insights that we learned prior to that as well. So I'd like to take a moment here just to thank Ryan and Maria. I can see you're already busy. Thank you for helping me keep this space organized and keep everything in a nice, safe place. I appreciate both of you. And to, again, returning viewers, welcome back. And if this is your first time, I think you're going to enjoy it. At the very end, I'll talk a little bit more about other ways that you can get involved, whether that's booking a reading or joining me on social media. But let's get to the messages. That's why you showed up, and I have a lot to share with you. Okay, so as I said, when I meditate, I get just pure intuition, and I like to share this with you because for many signs, this is even, it can kind of add an extra lens of insight to what we're going to look at in the Celtic Cross. The first message that came through to me was the symbol of a ring. And for me, this can literally show commitment, as if you're going to ask someone to marry you, but it can also be a lot more symbolic in the way of expressing appreciation or commitment to someone or something. What I understood with this was that there was a window of opportunity that was open, but will not be forever open, because I felt the energy of expectation when I was looking at the ring. Someone was waiting to understand, like, are you committed to me, to this task, to yourself? And basically, the energy coming through for you in July is to make a decision, get committed to something that you want to do. And then I feel like there's going to be momentum that builds and carries you along after that. There's nothing wrong with saying no if you're not ready, but I do feel like this is sort of the do or die month. You have to figure out, do I want to do it, or am I going to focus on something else? So what I wrote in the channeled message for the first portion here was, it's decision time regarding commitment. So are you going to do it, or are you going to move on? The choice is up to you. The one thing that you want to be mindful of is it did look like it was an opportunity. The person did seem appreciative and they were anticipating. So I feel like it's basically up to you, and you almost owe it to yourself or to that other person to make that decision, make it happen. The other thing that I saw was, this is this symbol can be taken a couple of ways. Actually, all of them can. So I'll just kind of break them down. I saw the image of a snake in the grass. And for me, a snake is a power symbol. So it's not necessarily something that is negative. If you look at any sort of oracle deck, a lot of times you'll see that, and it can show your inner ability to kind of like rise up, make something happen. Kundalini itself is seen sort of as like a coiling snake. So it's a wonderful symbol. But the fact that it was in the grass was showing me a couple of things that you want to be mindful of. First and foremost, I think this is just about staying very much aware of who's around you, what's around you, and not underestimating things. So if there's a snake in the grass and you're just walking on your path and you're not bothering it, it's not going to bother you. But if you purposely sort of agitate it, or if you are maybe not taking seriously the fact that it can defend itself, then you're in trouble. So I think with people in your life, if there's somebody that tends to know how to get under your skin or has a sort of negative energy, avoid that. Just walk, take another path. That's not necessarily the best use of your time or energy this month. You may also be underestimating your own strength. You could be the snake in the grass that wants to kind of come out and show your strength, show your power, have people take you seriously. So the main energy there is actually not to underestimate things and to be very aware. So that's kind of what I summed up here in all of these words, but I think I can consolidate it even more. Be aware and don't underestimate. Finally, I saw what looked like a little spark of energy or spark of electricity. And this could be very auspicious and positive, symbolizing like a spark of intuition, a creative cycle that's beginning. But I also got the feeling that for some of you, there's things that need to be taken care of, because I saw that spark growing. So if it's electrical in if it's like literally an electrical problem, you want to make sure that you are doing preventative maintenance to take care of that. So when it comes to those of you that are owning a house, this is a good time to take a look at, anything that needs repair. Maybe it's literally something electrical like the wiring in your house. It could also be the roof. It could be anything that just sort of needs to be upgraded. This is a time to do it before it gets worse. Same thing with cars, computers, phones. It might be time to update. Now, I wrote down the dates to make sure that I stated them correctly. We're going to be entering into a Mercury retrograde, and it's June 18th through July 12th. So for those of you watching early, you'll be able to maximize the sort of period of time when retrograde hits, and hopefully before and after. So there is this sort of thing called retrograde shadow. You get a pre-shadow and a post-shadow of at least a week. So there's still a little bit of time right now to take care of things. There'll be time at the end of the month. During that month, you just want to be mindful of making sure that something isn't getting out of hand. So that was the main message there. But on the bright side, if you've been waiting to do something, we could actually pull two of these together. There's a project or some sort of big plan that you want to do. This is the month to pull the trigger, because I got that spark of energy or that sort of spark of creative flow that's going to happen. So the window of opportunity could actually be really, really positive, and you could do something with that. But I wrote down preventative maintenance could literally be electrical, or that spark could show a spark of creativity. So some exciting things coming through. And I really actually loved the symbols that were presenting themselves here. And as we look at the cards here in just a moment, we'll get some additional insights. And as appropriate, I'll periodically kind of go back to some of the channeled messages. But at this point, I'm going to give the cards a shuffle, turn the camera down, and we'll take a look at everything, okay? So thanks for being patient as I do that. I'll rejoin you right afterwards. We've got two here that came out, so I'm going to honor both of these. All right. So let's take a look at all of the messages that came through, starting with the catalyst. For me, the catalyst functions as a connective thread, a way to try to stay in a positive mindset and really focus on your own empowerment. So we have a timid sort of symbol here, an animal totem, the deer. And this looks to me like a young deer that's kind of not sure, is this the right time? Should I do this? And what I feel like what we could do is take the two animal totems, the snake and the deer, and find a way to sort of maybe come out of your shell this month, because I feel like that's part of this. Don't be afraid. And when we're looking at even like your health, which I can also see as how you feel, we have a manifesting card here. So I believe that if you really believe in yourself, you can push things forward. But if you don't, then that actually creates this sense of kind of shrinking a little bit. And I want your energy to grow. So with the deer, the main message here is to release fear, to realize that you always have power, which is what I saw when I was tuning into the sign without the 8 of cards. And so we're seeing through an illusion with this catalyst. One thing that I do like with the deer, because I feel like there are both positive and negative energies with both cards, is the deer is cautious and is very in tune with nature and the surroundings. So if you can take those pieces of it, like I think a little bit of cautious energy is good, being prepared, having multiple sort of, fail safes or backup plans in effect, that's going to be good, because then when things go a little crazy, you know what to do. So I feel like you're already prepared, and there just is this sort of need to push yourself out there and take a leap of faith. As we look at the cards here, it might be clearer on when you can do that, but I'm seeing just a gradual, I guess, growing of your own strength and confidence this month, hopefully. We have the King of Wands at the very center, which is one of the best cards for managing. Actually, the Queen of Wands for me is usually what I would see as middle to upper management. This is like CEO or VP level. This is you really being able to take charge. Now, one thing that is coming to me intuitively with this is to walk the walk. So this is demonstrative whenever I see wands. If there's certain things that you are expecting of others in your life, one of the ways that you are going to be effective at seeing that happen is to focus on demonstrating and living and breathing that sort of energy. So you have to embody it first and foremost. And I think if you're doing it and you're living proof that whatever it is that you're trying to kind of get everyone else engaged and excited about is real, is doable, then they're going to follow suit. So have confidence, do what you say you're going to do, and that accountability and that demonstration of your own sort of faith in yourself or faith in your idea becomes something that brings people into your energy. It's upright, so there's really no warnings with this. I feel like this is a good month for you overall, especially when it comes to projects, ideas, and getting things under control, okay? One thing I forgot to mention with I don't do pick a card. So for any of you that are kind enough to do any sort of super chats, thank you. It really works as a way to support the channel. I forgot to mention that earlier. So the question that you'll have here will be looked at when we take a look at the relationship. So thank you so much for that. I really don't do pick a card, because otherwise I would be extending this by another 30 minutes. So if you do want to support me though, please feel free to do that. The way that you can do a super chat, by the way, is by clicking that icon. And again, it's just a way to show support. So back to what I was saying here. This is a great month to manage and get sort of oversight over things. And I want you to feel free to kind of embrace that energy, especially in the past if you felt too shy or unsure of that. Here's what we see crossing the card. We have the 9 of Pentacles, which is a fiercely independent card. And it definitely shows that you have what it takes to do it on your own if you want to. The only thing that can happen with the combination of the King of Wands and the 9 of Pentacles is that sometimes you can enter into sort of a closed off energy where you're not paying attention to other things. And going back to the snake in the grass, the awareness is important. So make sure that you're periodically tuning in with people in your life. If it's a loved one, make sure that you understand maybe what their intentions were or the context of what they're saying. If it's a coworker, making sure that you understand, like deadlines, expectations, and division of work. I think just really opening up communication is clear, because being an air sign at the center here, we have like very fiery energy, and there's not a lot of expression going on. So I think open up your communication. Listening is going to be really key, and that's going to help break through some of the stubbornness that might happen there, because that could either be you or the person that you're working with, because I see two independent energies, and I think that that's going to be a key to kind of breaking that down or opening it up. As we look at your deep past, so for those of you that are joining me live, this is the here and the now. In the deep past, we have the Six of Pentacles, which is really a choice card. The card is reversed, but I'd like to pull it upright and allow you to see the illustration up close here. As you can see, you don't decide to give everything to everyone or do everything that is requested or demanded of you. It's really a card of being decisive, of being discerning, of basically saying no if necessary. So the reversal of this can show that there's a sort of cycle that you need to break in your life of sometimes overextending. Generosity is good, but not at the expense of your health or your stability. So I think this month there's a chance for you to be able to put down better boundaries, and also to take whatever resources you have, whether it's your attention, whether it's your physical energy, or whether it is actual resources, as we see here, and stretch them, because this is one of the most resourceful and successful cards that you can pull resource-wise. So what I'm seeing here is the ability to take something that may seem like not a lot and really grow it here with the Nine of Pentacles, smack dab in the center. So there's a chance for growth, making some money. And for those of you that have been in a period where you've either been underemployed, unemployed, or looking to kind of maximize things, I'm seeing that window opening up a little bit over the course of July. So be aware of that, and I think maybe redirect your energies into places where you can see a return on your resource investment. Again, resource can be your money, your time, or your energy. So it's either going to be more fulfilling, more money, or you're just going to see more progress. No matter what, it's up here. You're going to make that decision. Do I want to do it? And as you put your energy into that, you're going to see a return on it. All right, looking at recent past, which again, for those of you watching live, you may either be experiencing or just about to experience. We have the Seven of Swords. A lot of times I see both the 5 and the 7. We just have the 7 here. So for me, the Seven of Swords has to do with people saying one thing, doing another thing, or sometimes things going on behind the scenes. There could be people in your life that are just not very accountable or not very trustworthy. That could be the snake in the grass for some of you too. So if somebody's been getting away with things and it's come to the light of day, this isn't the time to be the deer. This is the time to actually use the energy that we see with the King of Wands here at the center and stand up for what's right and what is important. And basically say, this doesn't work for me. If it's a relationship, I need honesty and this is dishonest, or you said you were going to do this and you didn't, so that's a lack of accountability. Or literally if someone's just doing something wrong, you call them out and say, don't do this, full stop. So this is going to be important because it allows you to step into your power and go from this sort of mild energy to the strong energy. And I think that's the decision for many of you. The other thing is there's a chance to cut your losses with the Seven of Swords. And this is reversed. So whenever I see like 10 of Wands reversed or something like this, where there's a heavier energy, it means that I'm no longer going to hold on to anger or disappointment or frustration over something I did wrong. Maybe you were the one in the past that said you were going to do something and you didn't do it. We all have moments where we struggle with accountability, maybe even just for yourself, where you promised yourself that you were going to be healthier or, work on something that you didn't. This card is saying, all right, so now you're aware of it. Let that go and focus now on the here and now with what you can control, what you can make a difference with. So there is a release, there are some boundaries, and there's an ability to move on after you've dealt with the Seven of Swords energy. This month is, for some of you, going to be a little bit tricky when it comes to control dynamics. Your crowning card is the Chariot. It's reversed. The Chariot can show a few different things. First of all, I always like to pay attention to the two animals in the front, usually horses. You need them going in the same direction in order to see speed, momentum, and stability. If the two horses are going in different directions, it can show a lack of vision and management and control, right? So for some of you that maybe are, mother, father, you're head of a household or your company, and you have a staff underneath you. This is trying to bring everybody together. And what I'm seeing for some of you in that sort of leadership position is that there are some morale issues that need to be dealt with. And the sooner you deal with whatever this is, the better, because this could be something that, you need to address gossip, rumors, or, get to the bottom of things. The sooner you do that, the better. The other piece with that is, if there are people in your midst that just can't kind of come together, this is a month where you lay it on the line and say, do you want to stay? Do you want to go? The commitment thing that I was talking about earlier, that ring, it cuts both ways. So there may be some people that, are in your life and you just want to know where they stand. So not so much an ultimatum, but again, an opportunity for them to come forth, to come forward, and to really decide, are they committed to what you're behind, what your goal is, what your vision is. The Chariot in reverse can also be a gentle reminder that, no matter how strong you are, no matter how perceptive you are, there's always certain things that are out of your control. So, we're in a time right now in the world where it would be nice if we could just go in and fix everything, but we can't. The King of Wands is, like I said, the quintessential management card, but the Chariot in reverse is a reminder to not micromanage, to not extend yourself beyond your capacity, and to be very clear on what it is that you can make a difference with or on in the world. So I think picking and choosing what it is that's going to kind of really allow you to feel like that was worth my time and energy, that's going to be important. Just like if a teacher is trying to reach out to someone and the student isn't open to learning, it's difficult because it's a two-way exchange. So you can try to kind of break through and see if you can get the commitment, but if not, you might have to move to the next person that's willing, able, and ready to receive. So as we look in your near future, we have the Eight of Swords, and this can be cleared by basically having transparency, openness, being sort of inquisitive, because a lot of times the fear that we see in this card is through a lack of information, sometimes even through ignorance itself. So interesting that we were just talking about education. Education and research can help you alleviate the energy of this. The other thing is, generally speaking, it's not as bad as it seems. 8 and 9 of Swords, they're very sort of fear or anxiety based. So as we look at the midpoint of July 2020, for some of you, there's this feeling of, I don't know if I can. I don't know what's ahead of me. I'm afraid of the unknown. Who isn't? But the unknown can also be something that brings you this sense of kind of almost giddy anticipation. When I think of, have you ever done something in your life where you can't wait to share it? Maybe it's a surprise party. Maybe it's a project. Maybe it's, you want to propose. There's something exciting. If you could move the anxiety into excitement and anticipation rather than fear and overall anxiety over failing or succeeding, then you can take this and use it as sort of like fuel for your rocket ship so that you can go into a really positive trajectory. So make this more like butterflies rather than, oh my God, I can't do this. And just kind of gently go out there and try it. There's nothing to be lost. The only way that you're going to fail is if you don't give it an attempt. So don't let fear hold you back from trying something that's really important in your life. All right, looking at your ego this month, which is really showing how you're going to be managing all of this, we have the 5 of Wands. It's a busy month. The sign I was reading for yesterday, the same energy came up, but I think it was in the environment. And the cool thing with 5 of Wands is as long as you keep working on something, then progress will be made. But sometimes it's like this feeling of, I don't see where I'm going. So for you, ask if you have questions or take a break, because the combination of these two cards isn't very good. So for those of you that are workaholics, if you are spending like 60 hours, 70 hours a week focusing on one thing and you're just sort of feeling like a car that's running on E, eventually you do get to E and you're just running on fumes. There's nothing left. You do damage to your body, just like you would with a car. So take time to refuel. Like I was talking about earlier, that electrical thing could just be sort of like the electricity in our body, especially our brain. If we work it too hard, it just isn't productive. So I'm seeing for some of you, you may be hitting that wall, that limit. And when I was in college a long time ago, there would be a point at which I would just think, go to sleep. You will have so much more insight if you just get like 3 or 4 hours of sleep. Ideally for you with the 5, you need at least 5. And you don't want to be pushing yourself too much right now, because with the pandemic still being around, you want to make sure that you are strong, mind, body, and spirit. So take a break, reset yourself, reset your goals. And I'm not seeing a lot of other people here, so don't be afraid to ask for help. When we look at the environment, we have the Sun card. What I like about the Sun is it can often indicate love and support, as we see here. It's not always a little boy or a little kid. Sometimes it is a modified love card, and it's a very gentle kind of love energy, actually. So there are people around you. There's love all around you. The card was reversed, which means it's muted or not being paid attention to. But if we pull it upright, don't be afraid to get out of your ego, because this is a card of ego, and ask for help. There's nothing wrong with that. People want to help. Sometimes they're just waiting. Why don't you ask? I was waiting for you to do that because I didn't want you to think I was stepping on your toe. Again, like when we saw the snake in the grass, they don't want to agitate you. So you have some support around you, ask for it. And if you don't get the help that you need when you ask, that's the commitment energy that I was tuning into a little bit earlier. Looking at hopes, fears, and opportunities. Well, I feel like that the sort of impatience is coming to a head this month. We have the Hanged Man in reverse. Some of you are just sick of waiting, sick of working from home, sick of waiting for things to happen. The good news for you is I feel like you can take that energy and put it into igniting something important. So if you are feeling this sort of, it's almost like there's a dam and it's been building up, you need to sort of gently allow some of that energy to go through. Don't go all in, because when we're looking at the 2 exhaustion cards that I was just talking about, 8 of Swords and 5 of Wands, I would say gently get into that. I guess there's a combination. The deer came through for a reason. So start slowly and then you can pick up. Deer can run very fast, but I want you to gently kind of explore it and then go. I feel like you're going to get the momentum as the month sort of builds, and probably by the time we get into August, things will be speeding along for you. But with the Chariot in reverse, you want to make sure you're in the right direction. With the Hanged Man in reverse, you want to also make sure that you're not getting ahead of yourself and like tripping or causing yourself more work. So easy does it. So we have the Ace of Wands in reverse in the outcome. And for many of you, this is getting your vitality back, but also kind of like clearing your mind here. So I think one of the things we've all lacked maybe during this half year that we've been through is this sense of maybe excitement or clarity of what tomorrow brings. It's sort of this fear or trepidation or kind of like zigzagging energy. So it would be great to really focus in on one thing that matters to you. And every day of the month, kind of focus on sharpening that a little bit like a pencil, getting more and more clear on what you want to do. And then you can align these 2 cards here, the King of Wands and the Ace of Wands, and really see some progress and feel good about what you're doing. I would say the other thing is if there's someone in your life that is abusing power, because the combination of those 2 can also indicate that, this is a time to step up and to bring that to light. Because with the 7 and the 8 of Swords, there's a revelation that happens. So make sure if you are doing something that you shouldn't do, that you stop. And if someone in your life is doing that, that you talk to them. I feel like this is a month to clear that cycle out and hopefully get into clearer, brighter, better days ahead, okay? Let's go ahead and take a look at the expanded forecast. We'll look at health, wealth, love, and destiny, and continue to put new lenses of insight on what we just talked about. All right. So as we look at health, we have the manifestation card, or just says manifest. The cool thing with this is you are very much in power or empowered when it comes to your health. And if you want to create or shape something in a new way this month, you've got the power right here to do that. So from a body perspective, this means that if you want to get in better shape or improve something like, blood pressure or cholesterol, this card is saying make it happen. Now, when we go into the energy sort of space of this, manifestation is about thinking about things and bringing them to fruition. With the Ace of Wands card here in your outcome, this is telling me that there could be something really wonderful that you could offer the world. So if you are kind of on the engineering side of things, this could be research and development, something that you could get a patent on. If you're more creative, again, it could maybe be an idea for a book, a song, some sort of creative project. For the rest of you, it could just be a kind of moment, an epiphany where you decide, wow, this is what I'm supposed to be doing, or this is how I do it. And so once you attach to this kind of higher insight, then you start to see movement, you start to see growth, and there's manifestation. The manifestation energy in this one is kind of messy. It's all over the place, isn't it? The card was upside down too. So I think for part of the message on this is don't get overwhelmed. I'm thinking of like the Seven of Cups, where there's all of these different things where you could go. I love air signs. I'm an air sign, but sometimes we overthink things. So this is really about picking a swim lane and staying in it and not getting too distracted with the people around you. If you think of a swimmer, that's how they can stay successful. They may kind of look a little bit, but they're really focused on speed and where they're headed. And I think if you can do that, that's going to be key. Distraction could be the only thing holding you back a little bit from manifestation this month. So let's look at some of the other messages just in the general spread here. Let's see here. I mentioned exhaustion. I really do think proper rest is going to be key. I think some of you are ready to walk away from a habit with the Seven of Swords. This month you can make it happen. There's just a simple choice. Sometimes we focus more on the doing of something, but I've mentioned before, it's the decision to do it that's always the most powerful. Or the moment in your own heart and mind when you sort of believe yourself or understand something. That's the true kind of eureka or aha moment, coming out to yourself about something that you care about or want to do. When you understand that, then everything else opens up. So I think for many of you, just making the decision this month to do something important, it's going to be so powerful, and I'm excited for you. With the Chariot and the Hanged Man, I want you to move a little bit more if you can. The Sun card indicates just the positivity of being outside in the elements. So weather permitting, get outside if you can. I think that'll help change your perspective and shift your energy a little bit. All right, we talked a lot about health. Let's look at wealth, which is self-worth, career, money opportunities in your life, learning. This one says riding the cosmic wave. So it's kind of a surfing energy, which I like, being in Southern California, even though I don't surf myself. And the card is reversed. So what we are seeing right now is a disruption in a normal cycle. In fact, looking at the overall economy and job markets, they were on an uptick and then they went wildly down. And now we're going to be kind of in uncharted territory. When you talk to different, or if you read different sort of newspapers about the economy, there's all kinds of different things. And what we just saw is that oftentimes they're wrong. So why not just ride the wave, which is what this is saying, and stop worrying about getting back to here or where you are here, or if this is going to work. It's really about evening it out and what the average is going to be. So looking at your finances, making sure that you understand the minimum and maximum sort of that you need or can do in any given month, because we're not really seeing cards of lack here. This is the base card for being able to make it for me. So Six of Pentacles is there in the deep past, and then we see the opportunity at the center to make a lot more out of that. So I feel cautiously optimistic about your opportunities with money. I think some of it just has to do with limiting yourself or limiting others from tapping into you too much. And the rest of it is riding out the wave and anticipating maybe what you want to do next or continuing to work on the next big idea. And that's why we saw the Ace of Wands in the outcome. So forward thinking, not focusing on the past, not freaking out too much about here and now. This was a long time ago. I think this was during, well, there were two really rough spots for Apple, but I remember once they were almost sold and Steve Jobs came back and he totally reworked it. But then there was I think it was the first recession that we had in the early 2000s. He said, we're going to innovate ourselves out of this. And that stuck in my head. I'm like, what is he talking about? He said, we're going to invest in R&D. We're going to come up with great products that no one thought about. And that was their golden era, where they had like iPhone, iPad, iMac, all that stuff. So think of yourself right now, make it your golden era, where you're going to innovate yourself out of this sort of temporary situation that we're in. Put down the sort of fundamental roots and seeds now that are going to pay off, not just this month, next month, the end of this year. We're looking like 2, 3, 5 years down the road. Really start to plan things out a little bit. That's how you become successful. That's how you can also ride out the next wave and future-proof yourself a little bit. I think that's the sum of most of this. So that's what I'm seeing with wealth. But I do see with the 9 of Pentacles, I like that there's something coming through that looks like it's a good opportunity. There just may be a commitment with this, and you have to be comfortable with it. So if you've been working in contract or freelance work, then you may have to go full-time and you may not be sure you want to do it, or vice versa. There's something about the contract or commitment that is unusual for you. So you're going to be asked to take a leap of faith if you're ready. And that's what I have to say about that. So let's take a look now at, we looked at health, wealth, let's look at love. So this one's interesting. We have acceptance here, and it looks almost as if you're being pushed into something, which I'm never really a big fan of. Almost what I hear in my head is eating a humble pie. So I think for some of you, there's a chance to, first of all, you should love and accept yourself. If we accept this at face value, it's really looking in the mirror and thinking, I'm the best that I can be, and I'm divinely created. Therefore, there's nothing here to not love. There's always things that we want to explore or learn. That's why we reincarnate. So if there are desires or ambitions or things that you want to go down the path and explore, then that's up to you. And that's the pressure you put on yourself. Now, if there's somebody that's trying to make you accept or kind of eat something that you don't want to eat, and I'm talking more kind of like swallow a difficult pill, this isn't necessarily what you have to do. So this can show pressure in your life from society, from parents, from bosses, to sort of say, this is it, do it. This is where you can say, actually, I have some questions about this, or this isn't what I signed up for, or I don't work well with demands. We're a team here. So there's a chance to sort of think like, how did I get where I'm at? Do I want to keep doing it? And this is the control card that we saw at the top. Maybe you're deciding to take the steering wheel and go right or left instead. So for some of you, you are at a fork in the road with your career or your schooling or your overall life path. Even if you're retired, we have points in our life where we kind of decide, why am I here again? How did this happen? And instead of having an existential crisis and thinking, oh my God, I wasted time and I should have done this, think, what now? What next? That's going to be so much more helpful. All that is important, remember, it's the moment of clarity. So if your moment of clarity when we're looking in the wealth area is, this isn't working, then take a deep breath, be grateful that you got that moment, and then think, well, what do I want to do? And then meditate on that for a little bit. And then think, how do I do that? And then think, what's my plan of attack for that? So one question will lead to another. Answer one before you kind of go down that well of many questions, and then you'll slowly get to that point of view. If you're happy with your job, if you're happy with your life, this could simply be a chance to sit down and enjoy a little bit. I talked earlier about the importance of taking in the little things. This person doesn't seem to be enjoying things. So where is the joy? Is it there when it comes to self-worth, work, school, and commitments? If not, try to have fun, try to get back to the fun, or find something that brings you more fulfillment. I hope that makes sense. All right, now you got two cards here. They were stuck together when we were looking at the Destiny card. For me, in the expanded forecast, Destiny is a sort of choice. It's showing you where you're headed. It's not carved in stone. You're not coming down the mountain with all these things decreed here. This is a choice, and you can make something new if you don't like it. So we talked about a fork in the road. This could be the fork here. One of the messages is set your sights higher. And I love the Stargazer card. I have an affinity towards anything related to constellations, astrology, or the cards, or the stars rather. So for this is really saying get attached to your higher purpose and really expect more of yourself. Imagine more for yourself. And that's what I was talking about here. You don't have to accept where you're at if you don't like it, or if your parents or your peers or whoever in your life sort of made you feel like this is all there is. This is saying, no, we're limited only by our imagination. Resources play a part in that, but what I see from today's spread is that you're very resourceful. There may be a way to surprise people. But in order to achieve, you first have to see, and I talked to the last sign about that. It all begins with a dream, with an ambition, with hope. So find something that kind of inspires that energy and don't give it up for anything. As a fellow artist, that's something that I continue to work on. When there's something creative that I believe in, I could be told no 200 times, but that doesn't take me off my path. If I, in my heart and my soul, know it's something that I care about, I just know that I have to do it, maybe. And so for some of you with the King of Wands at the center, maybe that's you, and you're going to see it through yourself. You have to steer the ship. All right, so we have the Shield Maiden here as the other sort of fork in the road that we were talking about. Make plans and focus. This is what we were talking about earlier. Don't be afraid to sort of push away things that kind of end up feeling like they're noise or distracting you. And with this, there is a defensive stance that we see with this. So if people are getting sort of on your nerves, in your way, or kind of blocking you, then this is sort of putting up your own block and saying, no, this is something that really I have to take a stand for and that I care about. So this is also the sort of 5-year plan that I was talking about. Businesses do that. We as humans should also do it in our lives. So, sometimes when we're back as kids, as students, we're forced to kind of project out. But once we become adults, it's less frequent. You end up kind of being on a path maybe 5, 7, 10, 20 years, and all of a sudden you think, how did I get here? So periodically take a moment to look at your life and think, what next? How is this working for me? And what do I need to do to be where I want to be in 5 years? So I think 5-year plans are good. Every 5 years, take a look retrospectively and kind of understand how you got there, and then projecting. And then obviously along the way, be open to revising and adjusting. And I think that that's really exciting. So these two really go together here. I think they're both pushing you into a higher light, into a higher path. But she's saying it's going to take some work. It's going to take some planning. And he's saying it's also going to take some imagination, and don't get mired down too much in the tangibles. You always want to have a little bit of dreamer and a little bit of doer. And these are the two angels sitting on my shoulder. You can do more, but you got to plan. So find a way to kind of get these two angels working together and not pulling you off the path. And I think you'll be in a good place there, okay? Let's go ahead now, bring all of this into focus. Then we're going to go much deeper and look at your soul energy and see if there's any places for healing, for peace, or for release. I broadly said everything this month is really about peace. But in order to achieve peace, you usually have to heal or release something. So let's see where it's all taking us. So the first thing that I saw was, again, a ring, which could ostensibly mean, for some of you, a decision to propose or commit. But more symbolically, it's just a question, commit or not. Is this something that I want to do or not do? And it's important because July is opening up a window of opportunity. And it's not going to stay open forever. I definitely got a feeling that the person was anticipating or waiting for some sort of feedback from you, and they're really looking forward to hearing from you. So if you are, if you were given a job offer, or if someone is waiting for you to make your mind up, don't make them suffer too much. You may lose that window of opportunity. The other thing that came through was the snake in the grass. And so the snake in the grass has to do with both your own power that you may be underestimating and someone in your environment that you may or may not want to engage with. Just understand that you have power, they have power. You have to decide how to use that when and if the two of you are going to overlap. There's a chance for ideation and creativity this month, innovation, if you will. There's also a need to kind of look at things that need to be fixed, and whether it's literally something electrical or we're looking more at sort of, just overall improvements. Preventative maintenance is key this month. If you can get ahead of something breaking down, breaking apart, it's going to be really, really key. We had a sort of converse energy to the, or inverse energy to the snake here with the deer. And so I feel like you might be going back and forth a little bit, just like we saw. There's dichotomy this month between different types of energy. So it may start off subtle, but then I feel like you're going to get your strength, get your confidence. With the deer, don't be afraid, basically, is what we're seeing. You can do this. Keep your connection to what's going on. Keep your awareness, because these kind of animals are hyper aware, but don't let your fear of the unknown hold you back. King of Wands, great card for any spread at the center. This is the ultimate management card. And coupled with this resource card, it tells me you can do a lot with what you have. In fact, you can stretch a dime pretty far here, because we see the Six of Pentacles growing into that Nine of Pentacles. So I see a lot of productivity, and even with limited resources, a lot is possible. So that, to me, is a very heartening message. Kind of bookending this, we have two cards here, one showing a need to be accountable, to break through any sort of, I would say, unsavory behavior that's going on around you. So if somebody is really doing something wrong, make that stop. If someone is just saying they're going to do something and they're not, call them out. If you're ready to move on and cut your losses, then this is a time to do that as well. There's also an uncertainty card here. So open communication is what's missing. For an air sign, we don't see any swords. We need some swords here to kind of clear up. Not the kind of swords we want anyway. I'm looking for an Ace of Swords or a King of Swords. These really are limiting cards in that respect. So use your communication skills, and that's going to help. We have two very demonstrative cards here. So maybe body language is a way that you can get through to people. Nonverbal cues are going to go a long way as well. Walk the walk. Don't just talk the talk. There's going to be, for some of you, a feeling of what direction do I go in? We saw that a few times. This could also be a power struggle. It could also be an organizational challenge, especially if there are morale issues going on. Whatever it is, the sooner you address it, the better. When you're working this month, give yourself a break and have some fun. The Eight of Swords and the Five of Wands can just show exhaustion and not understanding why you're working so hard. You have help, ask for it, or you can find it. The other thing is, if somebody says no in your moment of need, this is also a very clear indication of who you can and who you can't trust. So no matter what you do, I think a revelation will happen there if you ask for help. Try to be patient if you can. I can see the anticipatory energy coming through. Like I said, if you can try to bring these two together and have that anxiety or impatience go into sort of this feeling of, I can't wait to do it, but I'm going to put the energy into this like expectation and let that push you forward, that'll be great. Just don't let the anxiety weigh you down too much. And I think some of you are sitting on a really great idea. And so I hope that you have a chance to see it through fruition. Don't give up. Don't lose focus. And that was something that I talked about when we were looking at the health card, which can also show mental acuity. How focused are you? So in order to manifest, you have to think clearly. I see energy going all over the space with this, or all over the place. So trying to find a way to kind of take one of these ribbons of light or energy and focusing them is going to be really key. Make sure you're getting outside and moving. We have a lot of stationary cards with the King, the Chariot, and the Hanged Man. The Sun card is just showing the positivity of getting outside. So I think moving is key. And again, not overworking. When we look at wealth, listen, there's going to be ebbs and flows, and we see riding the wave being important. I talked about the 5-year plan. We saw some of that here in Destiny. So try to plan ahead. Look at what is and isn't working now, but don't focus so much on beating yourself up. It's not going to help you out in this moment in time. Never accept anything less than what you want. If someone else is trying to make you think that you're less than, they are less than. They're not the ones that should be with you and partnering with you in this particular moment in time. And because we're focusing on love right now, notice how we're not really seeing relationships come through this month. So if you're single and happy, good, because it looks like the focus this month is primarily on personal growth and development. If you're single and looking, I think there are some things in your life that you want to take a look at yourself. Accountability in past relationships, your own accountability, knowing what you're looking for, because it's hard to manifest a partner if you're uncertain or if you haven't been focusing on that. And also realizing that you are the one that you love, really being happy with who you are. That's going to be the ultimate attractive energy, being steady, being confident, being assured. That's really key, because I'm not seeing a lot of new energy coming in. We could look at the King of Wands and the Sun card and see a really high partnership there, but know that the King of Wands knows who they are. So you need to know who you are as well. If you're in a relationship, communication and transparency is so important. Because again, we're not seeing it here. And I feel like some of you could be acting out the energy rather than talking through it. Okay. Now, finally, in the destiny, we have Stargazer and Shield Maiden. It says, set your sights higher, make plans and focus. I was joking a little bit about those being on two sides of your shoulders. Basically, like, they're both positive angels, but one is pulling you towards your dreams and one is kind of anchoring you into the practical. And I think that successful people are able to kind of oscillate between those two energies. This is what I want to do. Now let me put a little bit of energy into it, and let me get back into what I want to do. And so if you can kind of go between that, that's your kind of key to success this month. Okay. Let me take a quick drink here, and then we're going to move along to opportunities for healing. All right. So we're going to start with the past and see if there's anything that you need to let go of, especially since we saw the Seven of Swords in the recent past. Is there something you need to release? What does that have to do with? Let's see what comes through. And yes, for those of you asking about retrograde, it's June 18th to July 12th, which basically means both June and July are going to have pre-shadow, post-shadow, and retrograde. For me, by the way, I don't really fear retrograde. I think it's a chance for you to look at things that need to be dealt with and deal with them. It's a chance for things that haven't been finished before to come around and possibly to, you get a second chance. So there's resolutions, revelations, second chances, and also reparations, chance to fix things too. So I think it's the universe's not so subtle way of saying, hey, don't forget about this. Don't forget about me. So some of that will be coming through here because we're looking at the past card. All right, so we have the Page of Swords in reverse. For many of you, you can be your own worst enemy. This can be the internal dialogue that's going on in your head. The Page upright is a very positive card. It shows positive delivery and receipt of messages, really being able to access your own good communication skills. When it's reversed, it can be overly critical, sometimes focusing more on what might go wrong instead of what might go right. And one thing that I've encouraged a lot of signs to do over this pandemic, over the past 3 or 4 months, is to focus on potential positive energies. I think preparation is key, but if we're looking at the past and what you need to let go of, it has nothing to do with right here and right now. It's more thinking, I think I can do this. I'd like to try this. What's the worst that can happen if I don't succeed? Let's focus instead, what if I do it? What if it happens? What if something great happens out of this? So focus on the potential energy, the openings that could be happening right now. And I think that's going to be so much more positive and pushing you more into that flow of creative energy that I was seeing, especially with the spark that came to me in my meditation. So we don't want to blow the spark away. We want to feed the flame and see it kind of grow in a better way. So you can do this, think positive, have those sort of internal mantras each day, supporting yourself. If there are any voices from the past that hurt you, again, this could be family, friends, teacher, someone when you were younger, you want to go back in and sort of realize as an adult that energy isn't effective anymore. It hurt me then, but I'm not going to let it stick around. I'm going to let it go. I'm going to release it because it's not worth the investment of my time and energy. Okay, as we look at the present, it's up to you now. We have the Emperor card, which is the ultimate control, the ultimate boss card. It's reversed, which is really encouraging you to also focus on yourself. What do you need to take care of in your life? We had an upright management card at the center, the King of Wands. So you're fine when it comes to everyone else. I think this month, it's not feeling like you need to control or fix everyone else, and instead thinking, what do I want to do for personal satisfaction and fulfillment, and why am I not doing it? And knowing that you always have the power to say yes or to say no will help you find peace and stability. So own your power this month. It's the snake symbol that came through again. So in the past, there were overly critical, perhaps internal thoughts or external comments made. And now there's just a chance to sort of prove them wrong. There's a lot of demonstrative energy, a lot of showing energy this month, with a lot of kings coming through too. So it's going to be about you just putting yourself out there and deciding, I can do this, I will do this, I am doing this. Also, don't let age hold you back. Being too young or too old, forget about it. Our soul is infinite. So I believe that if we limit ourselves based on ageist sort of thoughts, it's silly. So you may be retired and thinking of going back to school. If that's what you want to do, do it. If you are younger and you want to go for a really ambitious job and you think you have the skills, put your hat in the ring. You never know what could happen. If you want to start a company and you're younger, there are several examples of people that have dropped out of school and got that done. By the way, I'm not saying that you should drop out, so don't take that. But I'm saying that sometimes when you're young and you have an idea, it's lightning in a bottle. So that's what I saw this month, is that for some of you, there's a chance to really go after something that you care about, put the energy into it right here and right now. And it's never too late to go back. If you want to finish school, if you have a GED and you want to go after that, do it. So going back to college, finishing something in your life that you didn't have a chance to do, no matter what age it is, dating again. There's something around age and experience coming through that I just want you to be at ease with. Love and accept yourself, remembering what came through for love. And that can help you find a sense of peace as well. Okay, let's look at where it's all headed. What's the big opportunity when we're looking at your soul path? The Empress. So for some of you, there could be a divine union coming through. So when you know who you are, when you start to do what you want to do, all of a sudden you might be pulling in the types of friendships, of love, relationships, and opportunities that also mirror that. You attract that which you are. So really work on yourself, because for some of you, a higher love, a higher friendship could be on the horizon. The other thing here is I see harmony between these two cards. And this is divine feminine energy. So to me, even though they have different numbers, I see them as equal and slightly kind of nuanced energies. So for me, as we're looking at the future, there's a chance to rebirth, to reimagine. And I actually see sometimes the Empress as being stronger than the Emperor, because she has the ability to create and develop, whereas the Emperor is a little bit more stuck. So it makes sense that the Emperor is in the present, and the Empress, the more developmental energy, is in the future. We were talking about where you want to go next. You're not done. There's still a lot to do. This is a card of fertility at any age, and fertility being a broad term of I am always growing, I am always developing, I am always discovering. So this is really taking us into that energy of development and realizing that it's all at your disposal. It's never too late. And I think that it's a choice now. What do you want to do? That was a really bad Microsoft logo slogan from the 90s, but I kind of like it now in this particular reading. It's sort of like, what do you want to do next? And only you know. So that's the power in that statement. I see with this, once you have the focus and the decision, that nothing will stop you, okay? So I'd like to take us into a meditation here where we can focus on these two energies of manifestation. I like that we see a rainbow here too, and maybe I'll work with that. One thing that rainbow shows for me sometimes is that period of difficulty or sadness, and then it's kind of like rain, what comes after a storm, that beautiful combination of light and all the sort of mist in the air, and you see what it's all about. So I think that's what we all kind of need, is to get into the energy of the rainbow right now, because there's been a lot of sort of metaphorical rain that we've been working through and symbolically kind of dealing with. Before we meditate, if you've enjoyed what you've seen here, one way to give back that requires very little effort but makes a really big impact on the channel, click the like button, and also consider subscribing so that you know when I do new videos. That's all that happens. You're not going to get spammed. It just kind of informs the Explore page, and it shows YouTube that this is good content. So if you like what you see, thumbs up and subscribe. In the meantime, let's get into the meditation. Go ahead and get comfortably seated. Take a drink of water if you need it. Close your eyes. And first, just take a scan of your body. If you're holding on to tension or stress anywhere, I saw, again, with the Five of Wands, many of you are working really, really hard. So just give yourself a little gentle massage on your shoulders. Express gratitude for being able to get through everything. And nice deep breath, inhale. On the exhale, let your posture go. Let all the stress fade away. And let's walk into the forest. I want you to imagine that it's a lush forest, kind of like the Amazonian rainforest. There's different types of life that you've never seen, beautiful flora and fauna that is beyond your wildest imagination. You get this sense of ancient wisdom around you. Many of these trees have been there for hundreds, if not thousands of years. And in this part of the forest, which has been kept safe from industry, from humankind, from the external world, it's almost as if you've walked into a secret garden. It's like the Garden of Eden, if you will, untouched by humankind. Find yourself a place where you can sit down, where it's dry, where you can lean against one of these ancient trees and look back at this lush green energy all around you. This is the color of the heart, the true color of the heart. It's not red, it's green. And as you close your eyes, I want you to feel that green energy, as it's flowing through the vines above you, the beautiful leaves of the tree, the moss, the grass, everything, it's green all around you, almost like you're in an emerald city. I want you to allow that energy to flow into your heart, into your lungs, and then allow your blood to take that to every cell of your body. On a biological, on a chemical level, literally changing your biology with this energy of nurturing, manifestation, growth, abundance in nature. So take a few deep breaths, feeling that you are from the internal organs to your external auric field, recreating your body in this green energy, pushing, almost becoming the green man, basically. There's a symbolic sort of figure that you'll see sometimes in folklore. It's almost like you're becoming the green man or green woman, allowing yourself to just become one with nature. Take a few deep breaths and see this green energy all around, swirling through each and every auric field, or I should say each and every chakra into your auric field. And now lean back into the tree. Since you have kind of communed with the energy around you, the tree will allow access to its store of knowledge, to its wisdom. And I'd like you in this moment to reach up into the upper branches of the tree, staying grounded on the earth plane. And since this is the rainforest, I want you to get above the rain, above the mist. Look down now and see, as the light is shining through, that there was a rainbow above you all the time. So even though you may have felt that the air was dense, was thick, you may have been feeling the rain as it was dripping through all the leaves. Now that you look down, you can see that there was light shining through, that there was a rainbow above you, and that there was transformation happening throughout your life. I want you to go back, looking at in your past. Think of the hurtful things or the painful things that you've been through. And I want you to use the energy of the sun above you to create some sort of a rainbow moment with them, to understand how it brought you to this present point, this current opportunity to see your life from a higher point, a higher vista. And I want you to just bless that moment in time. You don't have to forgive. You certainly don't want to forget, but maybe you can see the higher purpose for that moment. And give yourself a chance to transform as I play the singing bowl. We'll take a few deep breaths and then we'll come back and do something after that to solidify what we've just talked about. So focus on releasing something painful and transmuting it into something higher. Take a deep breath. Exhale. Now imagine that you could move into or slide into the energy of the rainbow. And as you move through this, each and every chakra is going to be activated and balanced, since the rainbow really contains all the colors in our chakras. So imagine that you're kind of sliding down and getting this energetic upgrade, moving to any places that you don't feel safe, and feeling now that you are okay, that you are taken care of. Working with any power struggles in your life and feeling like you now have the ability to stand up for yourself. Releasing any of the heart heavy energy and giving it to the forest around you. Finding your voice, because we didn't get a lot of the cards of vocalization this month. So really feeling a clearing in the throat. And in the upper chakras, allowing yourself to truly perceive the world for what it is, to no longer be beholden to any of the projections, the mirages, the imaginary sort of things that have held you back. And as you drift down this rainbow, it's almost as if you are feather light, coming back into your crown chakra where you are at the end of the rainbow. And I want you to see something now that you are really happy about in your life, something that you've either decided to do through the course of the meditation, something that you have realized that you love about yourself. And I want you to see that energy shine, that thought shine, and imagine that you are brilliantly now creating some sort of a color of light that is your own, whether it's all the colors in the rainbow or bright white or indigo or whatever. See your energy shining, almost as if you are a star, and accept now that you have the power to do this. You're going to be the combination of the stargazer and the shield maiden that we saw in the destiny cards. You know what you want to do, you know how to do it, and you're not going to lose insight or that dream that you have. Hold fast that dream of who you want to be. Take one last breath and allow your newfound strength and energy and healed self to fully integrate and come into your body. Exhale. Welcome back. I hope that you were able to, again, let go of something from the past that was painful and see the higher purpose. Everything, even heartache, even disappointment, oftentimes makes us stronger, makes us fight a little bit more for what we care about. And I think for many of you, the fighting is done. Now you can focus on really being on your divine path, not having to prove things to anybody, okay? Let's take a moment now. I'd like to thank everybody who was kind enough today to give some sort of a contribution. Hope you got your questions answered. And if you'd ever like to find out more about me, you can go to my website. Everything that I'm about to talk about is right here. So it's nicholasashbaugh.com. And from there, if you'd like, you can do a one-time contribution. I do have a PayPal account. It's paypal.me/nicholasashbaugh. There's a patron button on my website, and all of that information can be found there. For those of you that were kind enough to do super chat, I will give you a little thank you when the video is on replay. So thank you right now too as well for helping me continue to show up and keep everything up to date here. That money is actually helping me buy a new singing bowl, so I should have that by the next time you see me. Please join me on social media if you haven't already. Facebook is the same as my YouTube username, which is @NicholasAshbaugh. If you haven't already subscribed, why not? Subscribe. It helps a lot, actually, for me. It helps you to kind of discover me. I'm a little bit hidden sometimes, and more subscribers helps kind of bubble it up. Patreon is a way that you can give back in a continual way. You can also click the join button here if you'd like to do that. With Patreon, as little as $1 a month, it goes a long way. I'm also on Twitter. And this is a great way to know which reading I'm going to do each day. I try to tweet that out the day before and the day of. I also use stories on Instagram. And for Instagram, I'm @Nicholas_Ashbaugh. For Twitter, it was @NAshbaugh. And that's that. Thank you guys so much. I really enjoyed reading for you today. The symbols were so powerful. And I think that you have an opportunity to find your power as I kind of go back to that divine energy of the snake, which can symbolize Kundalini or awakening. This is a very exciting month ahead for you. So much love, much gratitude to everybody. Thank you, Maria, and thank you, Ryan, for your help as well. I wish all of you a wonderful July. And for those of you that are watching live, whatever time you're watching, just thank you so much. Love and light. I will be back later in the week for the next reading. So check my website for information. Until then, take care, be well, stay strong, okay? Bye-bye. Thanks.